event organizers decided to sunny weather only.
So, to those of you who are watching the YouTube feed, we just went live for YouTube, so say hi, YouTube.
I'm going in.
This is Groove of War number 2. Daak versus Mattheway. On the left side of the map, we have Mattheway playing Mercia. Right side, we have... Ragna in the red.
Interesting how he blue is going for a spear immediately. That's a very I don't know. It's questionable in my opinion because it has great value long-term spears, but right now he might want to go for a swordsman or something faster. That's a rather slow unit for a capture phase.
I have to agree with that. Because in particular, all the villages here are spaced rather far apart, so having a sword would really accelerate your capture phase on this map.
Have either of you played on Dueling Peaks?
As a matter of fact, I have. In fact, I was the one who made the map. And
oh, well then.
So he has a little bit of experience, I guess.
Just a bit.
On it.
Yeah.
Now for
be on this map too.
Now, for the viewers that might be coming into this that are wondering just about how does this map compare to the others, there are roads all over this map. So vehicles like Trebs or Ballistas or other things later in the game would be able to zoom right up to the front. It's easier than say on Skirmish or other maps. As well as both sides have a strong side and a weak side. Red has a base up north that's that's right up in the action, and the opposite side has the bottom in a similar fashion. So we have each side kind of has a dominant side where they can attack, and a weak side where it's a little harder to reinforce from, and it'll take troops longer to get there. So it's an interesting attacking map, and you also have the aerial units that are spawned in the center near the headquarters. So I hope that we're going to see an attacking game in this map.
Yeah, and one thing to note is that land units will have a very tough time going through that center due to all the mountains, forests, and rivers. But air units will just be able to cross that easily. So that's one of the advantages of air units on this map, that they can switch between fronts very easily. And maybe if your opponent has mages on one side but none on the other, you can send your air units to the side where they don't have any mages.
Let's see, turn 2 just starting on screen. It's interesting so far. It seems the blues definitely doubling down on the spear spamming. They're immediately just starting to build them over and over in their strong side, which is honestly what I would do as well. And but it's an interesting way that's starting so far. Daak doesn't seem to be doubling down on the spears quite as much yet.
I'm sure it's not for a lack of strategy. I'd assume that Daak has some early plan when he sees that aggression. Like, he's pointed it out much too many times on commentary to not immediately see a strategy like that and say how I'm going to respond to it.
It's interesting that Daak skipped 2 possible captures of his skeleton that he started out with on the right. So it could have captured something on turn 1, but he chose not to, and it could have captured something on turn 2, but he chose. So I'm really interested to see what Daak is planning to do with the skeleton. Possibly Daak wants to use it to capture that neutral village near Mattheway's base, but I don't think that's going to be possible because of the spears nearby. They're just going to kill it, and he'll have lost the sword.
Possibly. He gave away a certain amount of income in order to try to capture a base further in enemy territory. Now, that can be in his favor if he's able to hold the base, if he's able to hold the city, I mean. but it'll be a city that might be a little hard to hold right now.
Yeah.
Especially with the spears coming.
Okay. If Daak tries to take that village here, those spears are just gonna take it right back and then kill the sword.
Yep,
Our spearmen on the left barracks.
Very interesting. I am part of the cult of the spear spam as well as certain other players are. I think that the bottom base and the top base for each player. I like to spam spears on this map in particular, where the racks are very close near them. They're just right up in the action, so the spears don't have a long ways to travel, which is generally one of their biggest weaknesses.
So then, do you think a spear then is the right choice on the left barracks, as we just saw?
Oh, on the left barracks? Oh no, that's it'll take a while for that barracks to be in. It'll take the spear a long time for it to reach the front on the left barracks. I'm not sure about the left barracks. Maybe a knight or another unit would be better there, but so it'd be able to get in the action. On the bottom rack, sure, for blue, but about the left one, I'm not sure about that because they're just so slow. That's their main weakness.
Right.
Now, Daak still has 750 in gold. Blue seems to be they're not spending much money. They just bought an archer, but I'm wondering what kind of units that they're going to buy in the future. They seem that they really love spears. I wonder what kind of units that they're going to try to back them up with. Flying units, indirect units like trebs, archers, knights. I'm really interested in how Blue's going to try to, what kind of unit structure Blue's going to go for.
It looks like Blue will be just a bit slower to cap all his backwards villages than Red will be, just because his spears are not very good at crossing those mountains. Oh, so Daak does build a knight. Okay, one interesting thing that can happen on this map is that if you don't defend the stronghold can actually fall somewhat easily. And I think we're kind of seeing that at the moment because Mattheway is leaving his stronghold completely, or well, almost completely unguarded. And Daak is in good position to advance on the stronghold next turn.
I am interested in his knight at the top for Daak. Right now the spears are still there's a lot of room between the spears, so their crit condition isn't quite ready yet. I'm just wondering if he's able to pick off the spears before they before they start a dangerous cluster. Right. Daak can have a really interesting, he might be able to pick off several units with his more mobile and active units.
Right. And Mattheway has bought a harpy that will counter the knight very well, and also be annoying to Ragnar, who can't hit air units. I think he has guaranteed the safety of his stronghold for the next couple turns. On the other hand, building this harpy this turn means that he doesn't have enough money to build things from both barracks, so there was a trade-off there.
One other great thing about the flying units is, as far as I know, unless it was patched out or changed, if commander is attacked but they're not able to counterattack, then they don't get they don't build any more groove charge up. So it's one thing to attack a commander with a knight or a soldier, this or that, but if you're able to hit it with an indirect attack or with a flying unit, they don't gain groove charge from that, which is a great thing in the early game, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Blue's definitely pushing on the bottom side, and Red's pushing at the top. Blue seemed to be spooked by the aggressive actions of Daak, so he's bringing up Mercia up to the top along with the Harpy. So it's an interesting. This map has a very interesting dynamic. So either both players have many ways that they could play this. And here comes the Alchemist to counter the Harpy.
Right. I've seen some players do on this map is build a wagon from the forward barracks and use that not to invade the enemy territory by sending it all the way past the river, but to sort of be able to switch fronts very quickly with your commander. I think that was an interesting use of a wagon I've seen on this map.
I have to say, it's really fun to look at this map and look at just the interaction between the top-bottom barracks and the stronghold. The more I look at it, the more entranced I get at, like, imagining how this front line plays out.
Does look like Daak is threatening, at least, to invade in the top left. At the moment, doesn't have much in the area that he can use to defend against that.
And definitely looks like, I mean, if you look at the mirrored side of the map, it's two spearmen and an archer. Definitely not quite as strong a push towards the bottom right for the map for Matt. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
Skeleton, Knight, Ragna, and then the Alchemist will catch up extremely fast. That's a really quick and strong push to the top left.
And those Knight crits are always a threat to virtually all units. They do an incredible amount of damage, and then there are so many different, so many squares that they threaten just being on the field. So they're definitely a powerful unit, especially on this map, with so many different options and so many different fronts that they can attack on. Mattheway will have to watch out for Knights threatening his cities, threatening his units, threatening to back up to attack other fronts. They have to, whenever you bring a Knight onto the field, it immediately makes the enemy have to make all kinds of different calculations about where are they exposed, where can the Knight attack, because they can attack several different areas at once.
Right. The thing I do want to note here is that Mattheway is building a preemptive mage because he is going to be presumably pushing very close to the enemy tower, so he has to build a mage now in order to not be caught off guard later when he threatens everything in the area. If we compare,
I think we did have a desync on the spectator client, so we will be right back into the game. You guys can keep on commentating it.
Well, I currently do not have the game up. I've been watching the stream, so I think we might have to leave Zero Next as solo commentary for a minute.
Well, I do appreciate your viewership, Red. I cannot fault you for that.
okay, so Mattheway, for those of you who are watching the stream, Mattheway just built a knight from his backward barracks. That knight is going to be a good defender a lot in the defense because it threatens most of the things that Daak has going for it for the top left. Threatens the sword, threatens the enemy knight, threatens Ragnar, and will threaten the enemy alchemist. This is part of the trading sort of metagame in Wargroove, because you want to trade your units into things that they do well against. So if Mattheway can trade his knight into the enemy alchemist and trade his harpy into the enemy knight, oh, that's a great trade. Probably both of those will survive, and the harpy and knight will essentially take care of each other's counters.
So, what is your opinion currently of the? Oh, there it is. So, Zero, what do you think the odds are of the push from Daak compared to the other ones? What do you think the odds are of, for each player right now, or do you think it's still too early to tell? Who do you think has control of this map?
Right. I think Daak will have to retreat here. He really pushed through at the moment. Mattheway just has too much in the area. Harpy and Knight, the commander coming up in 2 spears. On the other side, Mattheway is not threatening to do a lot, but at the same time, Daak can't really do anything about his push because the archer is just going to prevent those spears from being very effective, and the spears will next turn take up favorable terrain. They'll be very difficult to dislodge, and actually, the spears right now are actually threatening to go on the stronghold and maybe. So Daak will have to engage here.
Are you able to tell how much groove charge each commander has currently? Because neither one, I'm not sure about the groove charge of each one. As soon as the charge is up, then more options appear for each commander.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at 50
you're right.
and Ragnar's at 20.
There's a rule.
50, that's... Oh, go ahead.
There's a still
Mercia
at
50%. Pretty soon, she'll be able to. She could still launch into an attack, and she could heal away the counterattack damage, or she's able to play a little riskier because she could always heal herself and units around her. So she has many options now.
Yeah, Mercia now at 50%. So if she gets a kill on something, that will bring her up to 100% immediately. And then even if she gets counterattacked, she could just heal off the counterattack damage. Is what you're saying, I believe. So yeah, you're definitely right. So anyway, in the bottom right, Daak does attack the spear, but I think, and Mattheway will probably have to retreat here, but it will retreat because he will get a good trade off the spear by hitting it with the archer.
Yeah,
Okay,
you probably should pull back, but I am curious on about if he's able to take out one of the spears in the one of Daak's spears in the bottom right. If you only have a single spear, the crit potential is dramatically lower, and just killing it, being able to kill it, he might be able to plant that archer behind the mountain or to the side of the mountain to be able to hit something else in range. I'm just curious. Yeah, he probably should pull back, but I'm just wondering if he'll try to take out that pesky enemy spear somehow. Maybe pull the 4 HP spear back and crit the 7 spear, and he'll still have the archer in range to counterattack, and he has that alchemist coming as well. So he has several options. Some of them are pretty risky.
I was imagining for Mattheway here is for the archer to hit the spear, and for his 2 spears to retreat back to safety, and that'll be a favorable trade just on HP numbers alone. But yeah, you're definitely right. There are other options here. You get to see what Mattheway has planned.
Mattheway has that knight as well, so they're able to bring that unit right into the battle, which I think works well with Marcia in this situation, because if they do a crazy attack with the knight, they'll be able to heal it off right away or fairly soon. I think that it's for. I think that's probably a good buy from them. Being able to get more value out of your groove charge and being able to stop your enemy's groove charge from getting much value, that's one of the keys of competitive war groove. And I think that knight will work well with Mercia here.
Yeah, Mercia really needs a lot of beefy units that won't die in one hit. Basically, so she can heal them back up to full. And good examples of this are knights, golems, dragons, and spears. Spears are the probably cheapest defensive unit for the cost. So Mattheway does go for the play I was imagining for him. Hits the spear with an archer. And Mattheway decides not to retreat, but instead continue the attack, killing the spear with his own spear, and now I imagine he's going to send the other spear in to kill the sword as well, as a follow-up.
Very interesting. So it's definitely committing a lot of troops and putting his spears in danger, but he's nullified the enemy can't crit with spears currently, and I'm not sure if this trade will be worth it, but it's an interesting aggressive push at the bottom.
Right. If he did want to push at the bottom, I think right now might be a good time to say maybe build a trap on the bottom or something, because he does have control of the bottom territory, and the trap will help him, retain control over it. Basically, lock the enemy out of that area, and the trap will threaten the stronghold as well. So the danger of letting your weak side get pushed back too far on this map is that your stronghold becomes very vulnerable.
So let's see. I think Mattheway's thinking currently, and he has different options of what he can do. Both players have to be pretty careful now that both commanders have their groove up. Ragna with groove can damage a whole lot of units and do a whole lot of damage to enemies, and can start major attacks.
Like 25%, that's not really groove. I wouldn't call that threatening.
Oh, I thought it was more than that, I'm sorry. But 25%, yeah, it's still pretty low.
So Mattheway decides to build a spear on the bottom, understandable since he is going to be losing at least one spear the following turn. He needs to reinforce his, reinforce his bottom army. And he skips a build from the other two production facilities. That's very interesting. I don't think that was optimal. I'm just saying, because, like I said before, Mercia really needs to have a lot of units. Better the more units she has. So as Mercia, you really do want to be building a lot of units every turn, and more importantly, beefy ones. And spears would have been perfect to build right there for. I'm not sure what he's going for with this. By skipping the two builds on port, which he could have done. So, well, I guess we'll wait and see what he has planned.
Oh, I agree completely. One of the best uses of Mercia, which I remember the King of the Hill match I had against Ash, where he beat me with Mercia. If you can bring in a large group of units all at once, and you have them in a large formation, then it's hard to attack them from more than one angle. So you're able to, you could leave several units exposed on one side, but if you can't finish them off, then Mercia becomes even just that much more dangerous.
Right.
And so building, the more units Mercia has, the more sides are covered for with her units, which makes her even more powerful. Not building on that base was just, it seems like it had to be a mistake or misplay, or maybe they forgot to build. I don't know if it's nerves just being on stream.
Okay, so it does look like Daak went for the trebuchet on top. Trebuchet right now looking pretty uncontested, and building a harpy to support it.
I think we have another desync. I see it on my screen in Wargroove, but yes, Daak built a trib at the top for people who can't see it, as well as a harpy on his airport. So he's definitely pushing on his strong side in this match.
I'll be back on the spectator side of things any second now, but continue, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, and
well, Daak did not build on his other rack, which is interesting. He bought a harpy, but then he didn't build a smaller unit because he didn't have enough funds for it. So it's another slight trade-off for him. Let's see. Daak is definitely setting up for an aggressive push at the top.
right. And it's interesting for me to think about how to defend this. Presumably, Mattheway will have to direct units of his own to deal with the enemy trap. If not a trap of his own, then an archer maybe to be able to clear away a spear to hit the trap. Yeah.
One thing that we didn't notice, that we didn't mention before, Daak built the swordsmen and the other units rather early, and he was able to cap all of his different cities. Mattheway still is just finishing his basic capture phase of the cities in his starting area. So for most of the match, he was also seemingly at an income deficit. So here now he finally evened it up, but Daak had such a long time to build up an income lead, and it's like he got a free expensive unit just for that.
Yeah, I think that really stems from Mattheway's decision to build spears instead of swords in the first 2 turns, because those spears really slowed down his capture phase a lot.
Starting even with just with a swordsman or 2 in the beginning probably would have helped him dramatically, and then if he wanted to start spamming spears, then he could. But doing it that early was probably a huge misplay.
Okay, but on the other hand, Mattheway does have a lot of money to play around with at the moment, 1,650 gold. So we could see all sorts of crazy units from him this turn, maybe.
Giant can cross that river really easily on the left side.
Right, you're totally right. One play that I'd be interested to see would be a trebuchet plus a balloon. To help the balloon helps the trebuchet cross the river. Then you can plant the trebuchet like maybe next to the stronghold, and a bit too slow.
I'm not sure about a balloon right now because the Daak has a huge aggressive push coming in right now. I don't know if I would want to put the resources in a balloon when you have that many aggressive units going for the jugular, going to kill you. I don't know if I'd go for a balloon just yet. I'm not sure about that.
Right. Okay. You're right. Yeah. So, how can Mattheway deal with this push?
Bringing a trebuchet may be a good idea to just in defense, along with his spears and knight that he already has. Perhaps I don't know if he should. I don't know about this aggressive push. I don't know about aggression at the top front because.
Right. Yeah, that looks like a mistake right there. Daak will be able to safely get rid of those 2 spears, and then harder for Mattheway to stop the push that's coming in. That will roll in and back up anything that he uses to hit those 2 spears. So.
Oh, absolutely. Daak now seems that he has a free chance to have an aggressive attack, and then his Treb's going to be in position to counterattack anything if he tries to hit back. So I think Daak definitely has an upper hand right now. That seems like a definite overextension by Mattheway.
Maybe Mattheway can go for a dragon here to sort of threaten Ragnar, the enemy commander.
Think dragon is the worst play.
Well, when you're desperate, you might as well go for crazy plays, I guess. That might be one of his only options to really scare Daak away. But it's even then it's still a rough position because Daak still has harpies on the field. He has his alchemist on the field. It might be the best plan he has, but it's still a risky plan.
So there is the dragon, which again, it's not as if it puts Matt in a saved position, but it does open a lot more options for Daak to misplay here.
Right, Daak does have to be careful now with Ragnar positioning, because those dragons will crit on roads, and dragons do massive damage to commanders on roads, like minimum 80% damage if I recall correctly.
Yep.
So
I think Mattheway might be trying to hope that Daak overcommits or just goes for killing units. Mattheway might be looking for a sneaky way to try to kill Ragnar while he can, because his knight's in position to possibly threaten crits on certain squares. Mercia's there. The dog might be able to. The dog's fairly fast. It can go to several squares. Mattheway's best option might be hoping that Daak overextends and he can get a sneaky commander kill.
Maybe, yeah. Do want to say the dragon as Mercia is pretty good because the dragon can't be killed in one hit by anything except a mage crit. So if you don't let them, your dragon will survive, and then you can heal it up as Mercia back to a respectable health amount. So
Mercia definitely gets way more value for the number of units that she's able to heal. And
Right.
dragons, for their price, if she's able to just heal it for a few health points, that's a whole lot of value just even for that unit alone.
Exactly.
Price-wise.
I do have to say I don't like the way Mattheway. I don't like what Mattheway did with commander positioning there. He could have moved Mercia to, say, the forest above his stronghold, but he chose not to. And Mercia will not be able to assist in the reinforcement of the top left from where she is right now. If it, she would have been able to participate in the fight, maybe. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if they moved Mercia, it's the alchemist still wouldn't be able to hit the dragon, so it's not like they're body blocking it to try to defend it. Nothing's going to be able to hit the dragon other than the alchemist right now. I definitely think being on the forest would be a better idea. So Daak's continuing his.
Yeah. He's
Well,
continuing
Daak's
to.
continuing his aggressive push. You can see the harpy flying in there at the top, and it's. I'm just curious about where he's going to place Ragna, but he's definitely pushing forward while he has the opportunity.
Yeah, the play I imagine for Daak right now is to use his either the sword or the spear to hit the spear on the plains. Doesn't work because of the dragon. All right, never mind. Option for Daak might be to retreat Ragna, because it's way too dangerous to place Ragna on any one of the road tiles. Yeah, and plains tile to avoid getting killed.
Right now, it seems that Daak has definitely has the upper hand as long as he makes sure that Ragna's not going to die. That seems to be his only possible lose condition currently. Or the opponent still has a chance, but it seems he definitely is in a better position overall.
It all comes down to how well this dragon here, because it is a very powerful unit, and it will threaten both sides of the board because it can cross the center so easily. And right now, Daak actually doesn't have any anti-air in the bottom right. So, given that Daak just retreated basically with the trebuchet instead of pushing forward, I imagine that Daak is just going to retreat this turn and not do anything. At which point the dragon will be free to just run wild in the bottom right, while still being able to go back to the top left if necessary.
The dragon can be positioned pretty neutrally in the center, so he can control, can threaten the entire map basically, because it has such a huge amount of range.
Right. So it does look like Daak is retreating this turn.
So we were criticizing Mattheway's earlier aggressive pushes with his spears and his knight, but apparently it looks like he's not being punished for it so far. So, as I saw you mentioned before in another thread, mistakes that aren't punished aren't really mistakes at all. So it seems that Mattheway's push was definitely not punished at all. If anything, it just gained some more territory, and he's pushing Daak back. So it seems like it worked out for him so far.
Yeah, Okay, I have to rephrase my original statement. It wouldn't be a mistake if it had planned to build the dragon from the beginning. Then it wouldn't have been a mistake because there was no way to no way for Daak to attack those spears, losing a lot. But if he hadn't built that dragon, then I really think Daak would have punished that quite severely.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the harder things to calculate in Wargroove. You could see the units on the board, but then you also have to calculate when you push into opponents' positions. What units can they build? What units? How many turns will it take for them to hit the front lines? So there's a lot of calculation that has to be done with what possible units that you can't see. What possible units can be there, and what could they do? So there's always pushing into an enemy's position. That's another thing that you have to really be mindful of. Sometimes can make it quite harder. The dragon seems to have scared Daak quite a bit, or he's at least just going into a more defensive position to round its treb. He's kind of hunkering up and using all of his units and has his treb behind. The dragon definitely changed his strategy in this match going forward.
I think the big thing for Daak that motivating his retreat was that he doesn't want Mattheway to be able to get any good traits this turn. Because
I'm sorry, am I desynced again? I've got Ragna on top of the mountain above the stronghold.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
I
Be
was
right back,
desynced
stream.
Well, we will keep the stream notified. So Daak at the top pulled his trebuchet back, and he pulled all of his units back in front of his trebuchet in kind of a very defensive position to defend against the dragon play. And on the bottom right, Daak also he kind of has all of his units just positioned around his buildings in a defensive structure.
All right, stream, get ready. Here we come. We're about to replay the We're about to replay the turn. Wow, Daak's so fast. What a boss. All those movements in less than 5 seconds. Carry on.
almost infinite APM.
Such good micro.
Better APM than StarCraft players.
Oh yeah, it's incredibly fast. Yes, super speed.
Anyway, so Mattheway, a good way to attack this turn. So now Mattheway, this thing for Mattheway will be how to activate the dragon, how to make it, because it's an expensive unit. How do you make it earn its value, basically? And that would be, I think, the key problem for Mattheway to solve in the following turns.
Well, so far, earlier on, it looked like Daak was about to go for a kill. So he scared Daak away from going for a kill, so I think it already earned some value in that he's still alive in this match, when it looked pretty dire for him earlier. So it was pretty much a force by the dragon, but now that he has it, what does he do with it now that he already has it? Right now, the bottom, Daak bought a alchemist on his right rack, so he's now he has protection against air on each of the fronts.
Right. So one thing that Mattheway could do this turn is swing the dragon up and hit the village from the left, and it'll be safe there, and the dragon will crit the village on the road, so there's no danger. Range of the two alchemists. It's something he could do if he wanted.
It's a free attack on an enemy city. It seems like it might be a good idea.
Yeah,
but I don't know if the dragon will be able to actually knock out the city and the counterattack damage on the dragon. I'm not quite sure about that.
It's a village on the road, so yeah, it'll definitely knock the dragon. Yep.
Okay.
That's the play we just saw. So dragons do 70 base damage to villages, and with the crit, that's doubled. So 140 base damage. That's a guaranteed kill. I don't know about this spearman capturing the village there. I think can be punished. On the other hand, Mattheway did build a trap of his own on the bottom right. This trap is actually a huge threat to Daak right now, because Daak doesn't have anything that can deal with it or safely, because the trap will outrange all of these swords, pikes, archer, mage. And if the trap manages to move into crit position of the enemy stronghold, it's game over in 2 turns, because the trap crit will 2-hit KO a stronghold.
Oh, absolutely. And this map has roads all over, so Trebs can zigzag and they can race all over this map on the roads. So
right.
It's getting them into position it won't take many turns, unlike many other maps.
Something that that Daak could be response to that right now is using his own trap to position behind the mountain next to his stronghold and sort of prevent the enemy trap from being too aggressive, basically. It's certainly an option. It would be a rather passive use of this trap, and do this if he has no other way to deal with enemy trap.
Right now I'm looking at the map and I'm trying to calculate if Daak could have some kind of incredibly aggressive push at the top, and I'm trying to see if he would get more out of it than what Mattheway could punish him. If you see what I'm saying. Daak, several of his units can attack Mattheway's units. They could be overexposed. He might just be able to do a whole lot of damage with his units. Let's say use a unit to weaken the first spearman, finish it with Ragna to get a kill to boost up the groove, bring in the other units to defend Ragna, and there would be several. He could attack several of Mattheway's units, and it might be a good play for him. I'm trying to see how much damage Mattheway could do in response.
I think you're right. Yeah, that will probably be a great play for Daak to make right now. I think the most important thing right now is unit count, and that just heavily favors Daak in this area. So even though Daak's units are relatively cheaper, he has a lot of swordsmen, pikemen, mages, harpies. Those are relatively cheap units, and well, Mattheway does have the dragon, but really you have to kill all the cheap units that will be blocking the attacking squares for your more expensive units. And oh, that's a great hit on the dragon right there.
Oh yeah, he's the alchemist can run up and hit that dragon. It's very.
No,
you guys said the dragon was in
harpy
combat,
hit.
correct?
Yeah, the harpy hit the dragon.
Be right back, guys.
It also desynced on my screen as well, so I'm reloading it on my computer as well. So at the same time, so you're not alone, Gavin. It's a.
So we'll quickly see exactly what happened in that play. The good news is it does not skip what happened. We do get to see what happened on the catch up at least. So we got that going for us.
Okay, and something interesting right now is that Daak can in fact move his trap to within range of the enemy stronghold. Whether it's safe there is a completely different question, but it is a possible move. If it works out, Daak could win within 2 turns. So the game is in a very exciting state.
6 health, and Mercia's kind of on the ropes right now. They only have really a few options. Then their biggest strength, their dragon. It looks like their dragon is it's pretty weak right now. It's pretty damaged.
But that's the thing about Mercia, isn't it? That even when your units are weakened, they can just come right back in a few turns after Mercia uses her groove. So I think if Mattheway retreats the dragon right here, then we'll survive to fight another day, so to speak. Yeah, I do
hopefully,
think this
without
was
the
a good
dragon on
attack.
without the dragon on the field, the Daak's units are just storming in, and the dragon
Right.
scared it off. But without the threat of the dragon, Daak's it's kind of he just has free reign to just storm in and just take over right now.
Yeah, so I really think
really
that
another mage, another alchemist at the top for Daak, so which is a interesting buy.
And any second it'll show up on my screen. Any second.
One day.
Any second now.
Well,
We
at least
broke a
it wouldn't
record on that one.
start from turn one. If it started from turn one, it would be pretty miserable for everybody. At least it'll catch up fairly quick.
so Doc's position of the trebuchet here basically denies Mattheway's trebuchet from approaching 5 squares of his stronghold. So all those squares where the trebuchet could hit the stronghold are now denied, except for the one 5 squares directly below the stronghold. Seen that? Oh, that might be interesting. Opinion of the game state is that Mattheway still has maybe a win if he can get the stronghold to within range of the enemy, to within crit range of the enemy stronghold, and then protect it there for 2 turns.
Yeah, Daak
But-
certainly still has like a way to lose this one, and it's not like a far-fetched idea either.
I've seen players overextend winning positions when they're totally dominating, because all you have to do is just kill the enemy commander. Ragna's there, and there's always a chance that something can happen to completely flip this game around. Though it's looking like it'll be really hard to do.
Yeah. One thing that Mattheway might be able to do right now is maybe use the Harpy to attack the knight, get a crit. He'll kill it, I think, with some luck, and then use Mercia to hit the spear, and the dragon, or I mean the knight to hit the mage on, and the retreat the dragon. Yeah, it's a mess right now. The advantage but Mattheway does have the advantage that the battle is occurring much closer to his tower, so he will be able to build units from both the tower and the nearby barracks to his forces there.
And for the short term, Mattheway also has an incomplete because he hit Daak's city, so currently he has currently has an incomplete in the match. So that also is at least a nice thing that he has going. 100
Right.
income. Though, if I had to pick, I would definitely choose Daak's position right now, if I had to pick in the match.
Running the numbers, it looks like the Harpy will fall maybe just slightly short of hitting the knight. It's a one-hit KOing the knight, but it'll still basically cripple it. And Mercia standing on the mountain could be a really good way to...
Mercia definitely needs to build up Groove ASAP, so then she could heal up that dragon and push into the rest of her units. Just
yeah,
having
let's
the Groove on deck will give her several more options.
Right.
So-
And that's why I'm advocating using Mercia to go on the mountain and hit. And basically, Mattheway should be aggressive this turn. Otherwise, if he retreats here, he's just completely lost.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, I agree completely. He pretty much only has one option, and it's pretty much his hands forced right.
Brace yourself.
Mercia's up to 80% Groove, and now she's about to get it. Now she has Groove on deck. So next turn, there's a possible dragon attack that which can be healed immediately.
It looks like I just think.
Oh, you just sank. Well, you're one of us now, Zero. I'll try to. Yep, it seems to be a pretty common issue right now. So Mercia, she has her Groove. The knight hit the The Knight hit the Mage at the top. The Mage is down to 2 HP, and the Knight still has 9. And the Knight, so Mercia is definitely pushing in right now, and they're building up the groove to heal away their unit's damage.
Yeah, Mercia
So
Mercia on the mountain here is very safe, I think, from any possible attempt to kill, especially since Daak doesn't really have any use to try to kill Mercia, and if he does try to attack Mercia, Mercia will just heal herself back up to full next turn, so that's just gonna be a 1 turn loss of tempo for Daak. So I predict that Daak here will, or other units, he can kill the Mattheway's Knight and Mattheway's Harpy and Mage respectively. Yeah, we won't see anything.
Also, Mattheway's placed his Treb away. He didn't go for the aggressive HQ attack like what you suggested, but he's brought it up now to where it's the crit range is right to the right of Mercia. So if they try to attack to the right of Mercia, then they'll have a crit attack, a crit Treb attack. So that square is pretty safe from. Daak might not want to put a unit there to attack Mercia.
I think both players have been very sort of defensive, opting to go for an offensive plan. Both players, instead of pushing the trap towards the enemy stronghold, bringing it back towards their own stronghold. And this is not necessarily a bad decision, but I do think it means that we'll see the game sort of stalemate in the next few turns, as both players get traps in solid positions.
Well, I think it's a slightly good thing for Mattheway in that he almost baited Daak in order to bring his Treb back to defend his HQ, and Mattheway's Treb now is much closer to the action to bring his Treb to fight at the top of the screen, while Daak's Treb is it'll take a couple turns just to get back into position.
Okay, so that's a really interesting play by Daak right here. Instead of using the Harpy to hit the Knight, he kills it with a Pike and a Mage, and now the Harpy is free to explore other ambitions.
As we fix an RD sync.
Nice.
That's actually a great play by Daak right here. Harpy is more or less uncontested. Can't really. There's no way for Mattheway to punish this Harpy that invaded his position.
He currently doesn't have
moment.
any troops in the area to attack it. Yeah, it's completely uncontested right now.
So the dragon will have to spend another turn retreating from this Harpy, and
I'll look really quick about how much damage. I'll calculate how much damage that archer will do to the Harpy.
it's about 30 damage, times like 1.3 if it crits. So it'll bring the archer down to maybe 6 health, is what I think.
Well, let's see. The dragon's still alive for Mattheway, which is lucky for him that he's at least still alive. He could heal some of the damage away, but Daak has so many alchemists right now, just covering every single place for him to attack. He might get an attack in with the dragon, but it'll just be killed immediately by any of these mages, just storming the field now. And there's so many forests and there's so many mountains in this map. There are plenty of crit areas where these mages will do a tremendous amount of damage.
Right.
And Daak's building another Harpy, and while Daak has all of these mages, with Harpy plus mages, when they're together, you can't really use witches to threaten these Harpies because they'll just be killed by mages. So Daak seems to have aerial superiority just all over the board right now.
Right.
So if this was one of those chess matches with a little thermometer on the side saying who was winning, it has to be just more and more, and just overwhelmingly in Daak's favor right now.
I agree with that assessment.
All right. Well, Mattheway has a tough decision to make. He can't. He doesn't really have any good options that I could see. It's just he doesn't really have any kind of aggressive option to push him away. Daak just has an overwhelming force kind of all over the field. Mattheway has some units at the bottom right, but at the bottom of the screen, but they're not able to push in, and they're far away from helping Mercia do anything. Daak has aerial control. He has more units, and he's about to threaten to flip some of the cities at the top left, or at least destroy them to lower Mattheway's income. I can't really see any options for Mattheway other than options that would just slow the match down. I mean, just slow down the inevitable loss. It seems this is Daak's game to win, and he would have to make a giant blunder.
What do you think? At what point did Matt lose the ability to come back?
I would say it was the point where he attacked in with the 2 spears on the top left. The dragon, after he killed the village of the dragon.
I think it was that, but I think that it was just from the beginning of the match. Building a spear right at the start on the left barracks meant that he was way behind in income from just the beginning of the match. I think that alone was a giant thing that hurt him throughout this entire match. And then I agree completely with Zero's about overextending and hitting that city with the dragon. Daak just had a perfect attack. So I don't see a way that Matthew can come back from this. There were several different times when Mattheway also didn't build on the racks when he should have to help support on the left side. There are several little things that added up throughout the entire match.
And I think Mattheway, turns ago, when the game state was maybe not so in his favor, he should have tried to go for something decisive on the bottom right, using the trap, positioning the trap in range of the enemy stronghold. And this would at least have maybe offered some glimmer of winning to Mattheway. Then the alternative to that, as we see here, is for him to get grinded down top left.
Daak had that aggressive early push, so Mercia never really joined the attack at the bottom, and just joined in trying to hold Ragna back. So right from the beginning, Mattheway was kind of on the back foot, while Daak was always on the aggressive, and he just kind of snowballed slowly his lead over and over, just more and more, and it just seems it seems like Daak just had small advantages that he just built upon and built upon and built upon the entire match.
It's really the name of the game in Wargroove. Slowly accumulating your advantages. Something
or punishing overextensions or this or that. There are several key elements of Wargroove, and Daak definitely showed just a perfect way to just slowly snowball the match until it's just too much to overcome.
Definitely in our desync. We'll be back.
It's
brutal.
Okay, well,
Look, you can't say that's brutal the very moment we have to restart the game. That's teasing our audience, guys.
My game also desynced, I believe, so I am currently restarting as well. So I'm not able to see the match yet. So So what do you think about the match currently, Zero?
Well, Mattheway will have say he's completely lost yet, but he will have a very tough, difficult defense ahead of him. Let's say, I mean, this trap right here by his stronghold, it will be safe for the moment, and it will prevent even if Daak just retreats at this point. I think Daak has already demonstrated an advantage in the game. And also, Mattheway's will be slowly pushed back in the bottom right because he didn't manage to make anything happen. Daak's... Oh, I stand corrected. Mattheway just attacked on the bottom right. I think this is also an overextension that just went in. Will most likely both be killed. Will be killed and the other will be crippled.
He sent his few troops in to attack, but then Daak has archers nearby. He has plenty of terrain that he could attack from nearby.
Yeah.
It seems like it's almost just throwing units away, or at least he's not getting enough unit value for what he's for the little amount of damage that he did.
Yeah, exactly.
And on that side, that's really close to one of Daak's racks, so one of his barracks. So Daak can just he can build units and bring them in just a little bit faster than what Mattheway can. So on that side, so it's no matter, even if it does kind of go even at best for Mattheway, Daak can always resupply troops faster.
I'll save you all. Healing aura.
Oh, Mercia's using her groove. So Mercia has now used up her groove, and she's left open to a Harpy or Mage crit if any of them heal. Or
I think the Mage crit on Mercia is fine. Those mages are at half health and won't do much damage. I don't think there's any way that Mercia dies on this turn. But I do think that was... Well, I guess I can't really say suboptimal use of the groove. Definitely not ideal, but then again, Mattheway didn't really have any other options there. He can't just keep holding the groove in anticipation of a...
Yeah, he is making the best of a bad situation, and he is definitely going into defensive mode right now, using Mercia to block the trebuchet and pulling the dragon back. One useful thing that Mattheway's doing, he's using the buildings on both sides of the trebuchet as a natural defense, because in this game, of course, you can't place a unit over a building of any kind, so the treb can't be attacked on the left or right, and with Mercy in the front, it's at least kind of defended right now. He's not in a good position, but it'll be hard to attack that treb.
Right.
And it still looks to be like it's currently Daak's game currently. Okay, now it's Daak's turn, and he has many options. His Ragna can go in and attack on the top left. They could go down to pressure Marcia. He's just attacking Mattheway's troops that he overextended at the bottom right now.
Yeah.
He left his archer on the road, and now Daak had a sword attack on his archers. That's a huge blow to Mattheway's few troops down there, because that archer was kind of holding units back at least, and without that, the units are just going to pour in. Let's see. I'm curious. I'm going to check Ragna's groove. Ragna currently has 55% groove, which isn't much. But Daak can attack the soldier at the top left to build up some groove, and then that'll always be that'll always come into play. play at that point. So yeah, it seems that Daak's in control. Mattheway's in a defensive position, but then Ragna's going to be able to run back and attack these cities to build groove. Daak's units are starting to flood in, and well, there goes a dog. There goes a doggo. At least quite a bit of damage to it. Yeah, Daak is just building upon his lead and slowly just building, and it seems like he's just gaining even more control of the map.
Good heal to sort of solidify that anchor.
Yep. And that heal from Daak gave some necessary health to several of his units in the area. Daak's harpies pretty much forced several alchemists from Mattheway's side, so it's which is probably a little. It's kind of late right now, but it forced him to build several units and that I don't know he should have gone with. On this map, it's so easy to use your flying. Mm-hmm.
I don't know about this push here by Daak. It's just from a cursory glance that he's going to lose quite a few units here, and in particular, many alchemists. Then Mattheway's dragon suddenly becomes a factor again. So, be interested to see what Daak has planned as a follow-up to that. Hey.
For those of you who are joining us as this game wraps up, I'm Gavin, joined by Zero and Red Halo.
Is there any reason you see for Daak to sort of sacrifice a harpy like that? Is now in range basically of the enemy mage, of Mattheway's mage.
I don't see it because Mattheway's just going to move Mercia, and then the alchemist is going to kill that harpy, and it doesn't seem like it was a good trade by Daak.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. This doesn't seem like a very good play there. Follow up with the rest of his units. Is there anything he could do with Ragnar this turn?
His options with Ragnar are either to go left to attack that troop and attack the cities, or go down and support his troops.
Right.
I think that you could make an argument for either one. To either on the left would be an immediate groove charge. On the right, I mean on the kind of, if he stays in the middle, he could help protect his troops and prepare a groove launch to groove attack to attack all of Mattheway's units that are bunched up. Currently Mattheway's in pure defensive mode, and all of his units are all bunched up into this little group with his Treb and the Mercy and the Dragon. Oh, there he is. He's building True on the left.
He did. So Ragnar did go in for the sword attack, and this is safe because the dragon is too far away to hit her. If the dragon had been in range, that would probably have been a very different story.
Ragnar is now up to 65%, so it's still a little ways from it being a factor, but it's growing and growing. And once he does have Groove on deck, he could probably break through Mattheway's line.
Yeah. But that's the thing about Ragnar versus Mercia, right? Because Mercia's Groove, firstly, it charges much more quickly, and it will be able to heal off, ideally, most of the damage done by Ragnar's Groove. It's definitely not as simple as Daak, or as just using Ragnar's Groove when he gets it, because he has to ensure that he can kill Mercia's units to prevent her from healing them up.
Absolutely. And on the flip side, Mercia, Mattheway didn't really have enough units around Mercia in the right position either to really capitalize on Mercia's Groove enough. Mercia needs a whole lot of troops around her, and they need to be in lines, so it's hard to kill all the troops. and just create a wave, just a wave that's incredibly hard to stop. And Mattheway didn't have the troops in position, and he just didn't have the troops in general around Mercia to really do that kind of a push.
Right, but now, looking at the current game state, I think he's finally fixed that problem. The problem of not having enough units. He has a respectable clump around Mercia right now, and right, he will be able to get a kill with Mercia on his next turn, get Groove, and get Mercia back up to, say, 60-70% almost immediately, after which she'll just have to attack one more time and she'll be good to go again. So some comeback potential from Mattheway right here, I want to say.
You can never also discount misclicks. It's always one bad commander move away, and then you could find yourself in a crit that you didn't notice, and then all of a sudden you could lose the game. But other than that, the Mattheway still has a chance with his Mercia right now, but he'll have to play incredibly accurately to be able to have a chance.
Right.
So Mattheway's now, he's forced into position. Ragnar's threatening to attack several of the cities and just try to send up units to scare Ragnar off, but he can't really afford to. Okay, well, I guess he uses the dragon, which is probably his best bet. But the mage is still going to defend against the dragon pretty effectively.
Okay, look at this position. The more I do not like Daak's handling of the dragon, Daak's handling of Ragnar right there, because he's sending Ragnar alone into enemy territory. She doesn't have her groove yet. It will be before she gets it, and it just seems that very real possibility of being trapped in enemy territory on a road can crit her and just facing a large swarm of units by herself, and that's also a potential plan for Mattheway at the moment. So yeah.
I'm skimming the comments a little bit, and Matsuzen mentioned that Matt should have blocked the bridge with his dragon, which I think would have been an interesting play, but then with the mages right there, they would possibly just kill the dragon if he did that.
Give me a minute, I think I desynced.
Well, Mattheway is currently still deciding on what to do. His troops on the right side are pretty much gone, and Daak has an overwhelming force.
Second dragon.
Kind of, second dragon.
That's interesting.
Well,
Okay, so Ragnar
dragon...
is really threatened right now if she continues to okay, so because now her retreat is cut off, because she can't retreat to a good defensible retreat to a river, which is horrible, or a road, which will get her critted by the dragons. So right now in enemy territory with
he blocked
way to
the
escape
path off by an and soldier.
So the alchemist and soldier will prevent Ragnar from escaping this sort of corner of the map, and I really think Daak just misplayed that Ragnar right there.
Well, she's not that stuck. She can still move on the river tiles.
But I don't know.
Even less defense than the roads.
Well, yeah. But
I feel like that was a risk he did not need to take. Basically, I think Daak was in the lead at the moment, and now Daak just threw it back wide open for Mattheway. Is what I want to say.
It looks like it. Attacking, it would seem to be a little too greedy to get that groove, and Mattheway shut off the doors, and Ragnar's stuck. To try to save it, maybe he could go on to the forest and attack the city for groove, but I don't think that would charge Ragnar's groove enough to so she can jump away.
Charge is the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Daak committed his mages to attack like that, he actually now doesn't have enough air defense against Mattheway's dragons.
Doc has to look for a bailout right now. It seems whenever Mattheway's in trouble, he buys a dragon, and it seems to somehow bail him out or give him hope. So this seems to be the.
So Mattheway, Doc possibly trying to kill this mage over here. Gonna work. Right. So
for damage-wise, the dog can hit several units. Okay, Ragna's in the river and with 95%. He can use his other mage to block it from the road tile, but the dragon can still hit it from the other side. At least it'll block it from the dog from being able to hit it. Unless
won't even do
Mattheway's
anything.
Archer could also hit
exactly.
6 HP. Maybe the 6 HP can block in front of Doc and then use the 2 HP to heal it? That's my best guess.
Maybe, but well, yeah, it's not very optimal somehow. Making good progress on the bottom right here. He will be able to advance very quickly, but it's not gonna matter if he loses right now.
If Daak didn't push too hard with Ragna, he wouldn't be in any trouble right now, and he's already winning on the right side. And
that was the thing I was saying. He didn't need to take, basically.
And he won't be able to get groove by this turn because the dragon attack won't charge him at all. So if he'll be able to get a free hit on Ragna, bring in his other dragon into position, and Ragna still won't be able to groove next turn.
Wait. Actually, Ragna will be able to groove this turn. She will. She is at 95% right now. She will be able to on the next turn.
Oh yeah, she'll charge it fully in the next turn, but then she'll still need another turn to jump away. So Mattheway has a free 7 HP dragon attack on Ragna. To attack her, possibly.
Manages to jump away, she'll be safe because she is able to jump 5 tiles and
yeah,
complete safety. So going back to the previous turn, it was probably a mistake for Mattheway to try to block the bridge with his mage and the sword, because what you notice is that the newly built dragon was already cutting off Ragnar from retreating to all these road tiles, and just gave Ragnar groove basically. So now she can jump out next turn, whereas previously she would have had to wait 2-3 turns before she would have gotten her groove.
But then couldn't his Ragnar just run away on the roads if the Alchemist wasn't there to block it?
Oh, because the dragons will crit her on the roads. She will definitely die to the dragon crits.
Okay, sure.
If she tries to stand on the road.
I was thinking maybe she could have put units that she had earlier to block from certain angles, but
right.
I guess not.
That might have been possible, but even in that case, then picks up all those units for free. Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
And right now it's still not safe after that because there's still 2 dragons plus Mercia in the area, which will be able to heavily threaten Ragnar. So using the mage to sort of try to block Ragnar was a misplay. Should have kept the mage back. Yeah, nothing much else to say about that.
Well, it's Ragna has her groove built up now. Daak's units at the bottom they seem like they're just dominating now. He has all of his different swords, and he has the archer and the archers, and all his other units are just going to be storming the bottom now. Oof. Attack on the river with -2 defense. That can cause a lot of damage.
So thing Mattheway
Looks like Daak's just going to survive right now, or try to survive. He's going to run away with his groove, and just hide behind his units. Maybe try to heal up in a second, and just his push on the bottom looks to be incredibly encouraging. Though Mattheway's dragons are just dominating in the really just threatening Ragnar right now.
So here's the move I recommend for Mattheway at the moment. The move would be move the dragon to the road 2 spaces to the right of Ragnar. That prevents her from moving 3 spaces to the right to get a jump. So she can only jump from, say, suboptimal spaces, and then he can protect the dragon by killing the 2 mages with Mercia and the sword. The mountain can be dealt with using the trap or something.
Yeah, I think that probably is his best bet right now. Putting it on the road, will definitely hinder her groove where she could groove away to. Yeah, I think that's probably his best bet. Seems Daak pushed too far and too fast when he shouldn't have with that Ragnar. That completely changed the tide of the game.
Actually, going back to the previous thing, I think it was a mistake for Mattheway to hit Ragnar from the forest. He should have moved onto the river beside Ragnar and hit her from there, just to prevent her from moving out and jumping.
Yeah, he could have taken away a lot of her counterplay if he did that.
Right.
I think he might be trying to he might be a little too focused on defending his dragons than he is in just trying to finish Ragnar off. If he sacrifices both dragons, throws them both in both damaged quite a bit. If he still wins the game, he wins the game. Oh, here comes another harpy.
Oh, it is possible for, say, Ragnar to jump to the mountain tile the following turn, but okay. So I think this is another misplay from Mattheway. He should have definitely built a witch there, just to be able to hex the next turn and possibly kill Ragnar.
That's a very good point. A hex would have been taking away 1 more HP could be a giant deal in this matchup right now.
Yeah.
Now Daak is definitely going to try to groove away and use both of his mages to heal twice in a row. So Ragnar can be... 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe he should have used...
I think this was definitely better ways to play that. So, in my opinion, Mattheway should have used the 4 health mage to heal the swordsman and Mercia, then use Mercia to kill the 6 health mage, and then use the swordsman crit to kill the 8 health mage. And that would have prevented Ragnar from being able to heal the following turn, after which, if he had also built a witch, he might have been able to still kill Mercia, to kill Ragnar anyway. So
yeah, I agree completely. Now Ragnar can jump away and heal, and it'll take away a lot of his initiative.
I don't want to make it sound like the game is over from here. Mattheway still has a lot of momentum on the top right. I think he just did miss a good kill opportunity there.
Brace yourself.
So Ragnar is going to be able to jump pretty far next turn because he didn't block with the dragon.
Yeah. And I think if she jumps that far, she'll just be safe.
She'll be safe,
she can...
and then the mage will heal her. Yeah.
Definitely, well, probably not over yet, but he did miss a kill there. Yeah, so...
Well, Daak got lucky. Yeah, he was right on the edge of death if Mattheway played it slightly differently.
So we do have to see right now how Daak handles this turn. There are definitely a lot of ways to misplay this turn as well.
Well, absolutely. Well, the income doesn't seem to matter as much, but I think it's also worth mentioning that for several turns now, Daak hasn't really captured the city, and he's been down in income slightly. And while Mattheway has had a one city income lead for quite a few turns now, so over time that just builds and builds and builds, and it's something that you can't really ignore over long periods of time. Daak on the right side is Trebuchet's ready to destroy a city, and it's zoning out several units. So Daak, once he flips a city and gets control, the income will definitely be going his way in the long term if he could survive.
Right. We also do have to note that Daak's Trebuchet is kind of stuck there. The mountain and forest prevent it from moving further forward than that, so all it will really be able to do is hit that one city, which is good, but maybe doesn't matter as much at the moment. And yeah,
It's
and then
not getting much
afterwards,
value out of it. Mattheway's Treb is right in the action. It's threatening so many tiles and threatening crits in so many different angles. While
Right.
Daak is just kind of sitting there, and he finally got into a place where he at least hit a city. It doesn't seem it's like it's doing nearly as much. Well,
You want to
it
take
seems
a
like Daak is still calculating. He finally used his archer to kill a unit, and it looks.
I do want to just say, great dragon play by Mattheway so far. It's basically kept him in the game this long. And
Daak's latest move made absolutely no sense to me. He needs to get his Ragna out of the way, and then he could heal it with his mages. But then he just moved his 1 HP mage back, which he could always do later. But he could have had another heal on Ragna, just in case, with the dragons flying around in the sky. You can't keep Ragna on a low HP. And after he already moved the 1 HP mage, he's not able to heal with it later.
Okay, you're definitely right about that. Also, I do want to point out that because he pushed forward like that, that really takes away a lot of the potential for Daak to shield Ragna with his units, even after she moves back into friendly territory, so to speak.
I really love this sneaky witch spot by Daak. He's planted behind a city which you can't attack from directly, and he's able to get a little hex from. And
Yeah.
which, for hitting that many units, it probably is a pretty decent value. Though Mercia does have 80% groove, so it'll be able to heal it away. But it's just a very interesting little centralized witch spot, which he can move to several angles from.
Guess what Daak is planning on doing right now is using Ragna to jump to that little plains tile in between his archer and the 1 health mage, and then shielding it with the archer.
Now this is a silly meme strat, but I've got to mention it. My dream game to play in this game
Not
is to be
okay,
able to
never
build
mind.
10 witches and use 10 hexes to kill an enemy commander. I've done it so far with 4, but and then I'm able to hex twice in a row and finished with my Ryota. But 10 witch hex is currently that's my goal in Wargroove right now.
Oh, anyway, going back to the game, I don't think there's a way for Mattheway to kill Ragna right here. The dragon, even if he uses the mage to heal the dragon back up to full, it's probably he could still chance it, but I think it's unfavorable odds. And going back to the previous turn, imagine if it's here right now and would have been able to bring Ragna down to 31% instead of 41%. Then a single dragon hit from full health would have done like at least 32 damage. That would have been a guaranteed kill on Ragna. So So
Oh, absolutely. And even when you said earlier about being able to kill both of Daak's mages at the top, if he was able to do that and bring a witch out, he would have a lot of control. He could threaten hexes all over. It would have. Mattheway had a huge opportunity in the last a couple turns ago.
I still don't think the game is over. Surprisingly enough,
It's swung both ways recently.
it's on both ways. Because Mattheway is going to be able to push on the top right now, and really do anything about it at the moment. We want to see how Mattheway plans on dealing with this witch that is going to be very annoying, because it's sitting there in an invulnerable spot. Okay, so Mattheway did use the mage to heal all his units. An indication that we will see him try to go for the dragon kill on Ragnar. And I'm going to very quickly calculate the damage on that.
I have desynced. I will be with you again in a minute. See us. So that dragon in range, how much damage would that dragon do to Ragnar?
Numbers. It seems like there's no chance of killing. The average damage that the dragon could do would be 35 to that Ragnar on the forest. Because and the max it could do is maybe 39. It survive with like a tiny sliver of health.
It says 4 HP. Are you able to put your mouse over to see exactly how much Ragnar does? Is it rounding over?
Wait, there's a chance here. The way could suicide the mage into Ragnar, and then use the dragon to hit Ragnar, and that might kill her. Suiciding the mage deals a bit of chip damage and also keeps the attacking spot free.
That might have been his best bet.
Oh, that's what he's doing. Okay. I think this dragon kill is a 50-50 now.
Oof.
Right.
2%.
This is the critical moment. Didn't kill. Oh, that's so sad. Oh no. Ragnar survives.
It's good for Daak. It's bad for Mattheway. That was an amazing. That was so close.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate for Mattheway. I do want to note. Yeah, it's just so sad. I also do want to note that basically was a 50-50. The expected damage on that was like 35. It could have gone either way there. Either way there. So that lucky that Mattheway didn't.
Well, you said it was unlucky. It seems that Daak must have incredible luck because he is still surviving with 2 HP. And he's still alive. He was deep in enemy territory, and we had dragons circling him in the air like buzzards, and he's still just barely alive.
Okay, so I do want to... it's interesting that he's supposed to use the harpy to lock in this witch here. So he's gonna keep at least one dragon alive. I don't know if this will affect anything. Wow, this game is such spaghetti at the moment. But that's also what makes Wargroove a great game. So, I'm
thinking about silly odd strats that Daak could have done. I mean, part of me in the back of my head is thinking he could have built a wagon on the left, and the next turn he could have jumped in the wagon, drove away, kind of scot-free, and hope and just survive for another day. Get away from.
Oh,
this.
you're totally right there. That's something he could have done, but now right now we'll just heal back to full, and nothing Mattheway can do about it. Okay. Assuming that Daak goes for the right place here and manages to kill both dragons, I'm willing to call it GG for Mattheway.
Oh yeah, it's Daak has control over the bottom. He's pretty much won that front. Mattheway put everything into trying to kill Ragna. He put all of his chips on that, and he came super close. I can't blame him for going for that, because that could have gone either way.
That could have gone either way.
So Ragna's full, and she healed off of the top barrack.
So we did desync again, so we will be right back.
Okay, well, I will give you Ragna's full health. She healed off of the barrack at the top, so it's down to 1 HP, but it'd be hard to... Daak should still have control over that barrack.
Right, and Daak will manage to kill both dragons here, at which point there's no real way for the use Mercia's groove effectively. I'm gonna call it.
Which is an interesting dynamic for this map. I've never seen, I've always seen where a player with the barrack at the top has control over the top half, and the player with the other barrack has control over the bottom half, but it's completely switched. Where Mattheway is now pushing at the top, and Daak is pushing at the bottom. I've never seen that dynamic on this map before. It's completely reversed through the course of this match. Mattheway can hit that 5 HP building later to possibly swap income for a while. But yeah, Daak should be in control of this.
Yep. Yeah, there's just very little that Mattheway can do right now. He'll lose the southern barracks very quickly. His northern barracks isn't falling anytime soon. Yeah. Mattheway is just, well...
Is there a way for Mattheway to be able to hold the bottom barrack? He doesn't have...
I highly doubt it. Firstly, he can't hold it with air because the witch is still there. He can't hold it with anything squishy this turn. It'll just die because of archers, and he doesn't have enough money for a golem.
Mattheway's 9 HP trebuchet is incredibly important where it's at to zone things out. But if it goes down, it could possibly defend the barrack for at least for a while, because it could be hard.
You're right. Yeah, I hadn't seen that. You're right.
That might be his best bet.
That would be the play at the moment, I think. But even then, it still feels like there's no way to hold this. It's just completely crushing.
Yeah, his trebuchet needs to be in 2 places at once, and it just can't. It's needed where it's at to attack the income, to threaten all those tiles, but he also needs it at the bottom just to keep his barrack. So his units are close.
Speaking of income, Mattheway is now quite behind on 1100 gold a turn, and Mattheway's at 800. And I think Daak will quickly go up to 1200 the next turn once he captures that neutral village. So I don't know, maybe this holds in some way. Pretty tough for Mattheway though. Yeah, okay. I guess if he brought down both the trebuchet and the mage, then maybe he could claim to be able to do something.
That might have been his best bet, but then the mage was also, both of those units were also needed at the top as well, and without them
Yeah,
at
the
top,
mage is.
top
Yeah, the
can
mage.
fall pretty quick.
The mage really wants to hit the harpy this turn, which it could do if Mattheway kills the village and then the mage goes to hit the harpy. Oh.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, it seems to be Mattheway is just he's fighting for survival again, and but last 2 times that this has happened, he's been in danger. He's bought a dragon, and it seemed to bail him out both times. But he does not have money for a 3rd dragon, so I don't think we can't see that right now.
Yeah, and the thing about the dragon number 3 here is that Daak already has the full health witch.
Absolutely. I think Daak was just sick of dragons by this point, and he just put a witch there just to think, okay, you're buying another one, I'm ready this time. I'm not going to let you...
So Mattheway does bring down both the mage and the trebuchet. Might be enough. But I don't think it is.
Yeah, now Daak just now he's throwing everything at the bottom, and now Daak just it seems like he is the top again. With that barrack at the top, he can just build up another force at the top.
Right. So
Mattheway's just down more money with that city out of commission, with that income deficit. It just seems like Daak is just finally building again. Ragna's safe, Ragna's full health again, and it seems like Ragna's Daak's in control. Daak's in control again. Completely. It's Mattheway. I don't see as much counterplay. Mattheway had a chance before, but I think his counterplay is pretty much gone.
Looking back on the game, I feel like both players made their share of mistakes, but possibly Daak was the more consistent player. He made fewer mistakes and also capitalized on Mattheway's mistakes. Discounting that part at the end where
and he got really lucky. I think you can't deny the fact that he won the coin flip for his Ragna survived it.
It was almost exactly a 50-50.
Yeah, he definitely got lucky there. It could have gone either way at several points in the game, but yeah, overall, yeah, it seems to be that it's solidifying. Daak he's in control now. Overwhelming income.
Overwhelming unit count, even including buildings. 18 units on Matt's side.
Yeah, I don't see a way that he can pull this out. It seems to be even in... Unless Daak decides to rush in with Ragna again deep in enemy territory. If that's the only way. Other than that, I don't see a way for Mattheway to...
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely lost my fair share of games to being too aggressive with the commander. There's a very fine line to walk between being aggressive enough and being too aggressive. Yeah.
Well, it's that fine line in Wargroove. The commanders are incredibly important. They're incredibly powerful, but they're so fragile. Just a crit and to cut another one, and you can be in an incredible amount of danger. And then you could, no matter how many units you're winning with, no matter how much income lead you have, if your commander dies, you just lose.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen several. I've lost to Nurus that way, and that's in quick play, and that was they were kind of painful.
Huh? think that's the tension of War Groove that makes it so interesting, because the Groove charging system encourages you to stay aggressive with the commander, but at the same time, the fact that you lose the game on losing the commander from being too aggressive. So it's all about walking that tightrope between being aggressive enough and just losing the commander to something you didn't see.
Looks like at this point Matt's going through the formalities, just playing his units.
I'll save you all.
Yeah.
Daak
Yeah.
should be closing this out in the next turn or two. Definitely a strong showing by Matt.
Yeah.
I think overall Matt should probably walk out of this game pretty happy. I'd imagine Daak might be a little frustrated having come from the 4th seed from Groove of War #1. Definitely wouldn't call it his best performance here.
I might disagree, honestly. There are several new players that are joining that didn't join the first one that are incredibly strong. From Koilise to Shu to Jokas to Matex to there are a number of very, very strong players, and many of them that I've just seen recently. If anything, I don't know if this is a bad showing by Daak or it's just showing that the competition level is also rising. People are watching the videos of the other streams. People are seeing how the meta is developing, and I think the competition's just rising higher and higher.
Okay, so right now the way that Daak can end it very quickly is to just put the trap in range of the stronghold, attack it twice, GG. Not see a way from Mattheway to prevent that at the moment. Except, just no way to prevent it.
Yeah, it's definitely looks to be Daak definitely has control over everything. He has income advantage, he has unit count advantage, his commander safe, he has...
This is a really nice harp setup for the trebuchet kill next turn. You who might be wondering, the trebuchet crit does minimum 62% to the stronghold. So even if the stronghold heals back up to 46% the following turn, it's still dead.
And he still has his other mage coming into play and his other units to yeah, okay, he also heals them. So yeah, it's going to be dead either way. I wonder if Daak wanted to be careful, he could also bring his knight into position, so he could also get another knight, threaten a knight crit on HQ. He could bring in Mercy. He's winning from several different angles now.
Right.
Yeah, there's no real way to stop it. Mattheway's probably his last turn. Is he going to resign, or is he going to try to play up?
I think he will try to.
I would resign. It's 100%. It's if you want to fight in a losing position, that's fine. Or if you want to try to make a comeback, but it's 0% unless Daak makes several misclicks in a row.
Yeah, this is like the one turn before checkmate position in chess. Force checkmate, rather.
It's completely over. Well, I guess he wants to finish off a few of Daak's units first before he calls it quits. But it's it was a interesting showing by both players, and Daak was a 4th seed, and it just shows that many strong players have joined this tourney.
Yeah.
It just because somebody had a high place in the last one doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to place high again. It can be a very difficult game for even the strongest players, the first one. Well, as it's wrapping up, I guess I'll just mention there are a number of upcoming games in certain pools that I'm looking forward to. Shu versus Bello in Pool 1. The European pool has several different strong players, in Koili, Say, Jokus, and Ash and Matex, and there are a number of them. V and Zero in their pool, and there are many.
Just to give some closing thoughts to the stream before the game ends, this is going to be our last match of the night, one and only match of the night. We'll be back next week, Wednesday and Thursday. That is going to be it with a Stronghold Lethal. Daak taking the win as the red Ragna.
Very hard-fought victory. That was he came back from the brink of defeat.
Yep.
That was an interesting match for such a small map, I suppose. Very well designed map. That was well done on the map, Zero.
Thanks.
Yeah, I like the map as well. Great map.
Congratulations to both players. Congrats to Daak for the win. And Matt, I mean, if this is your first time joining a competitive Wargroove tournament, I think you did a great first impression there.
It
only go up from there, right?
Well, also in each pool, 2 players progress from each pool, so both of these players still have chances. Just because you lose one match doesn't mean that you're that your chances. Both of these players still, Matt still has a chance to come back and still be one of the top 2 in his pool and move on. So even a loss here, he still has his chances.